Hi everybody. So I wanted to do a short tutorial for you on hacks for doing your annotated bib assignment and your works cited entry when you are done with your research essays. So what I wanted to show you is a citation generator software called EasyBib.com. There are lots of these that you can use on the internet. Another example is citationmachine.net. I think there's one called Son of Citation. I can't remember, but the one I always use is EasyBib because the steps in it are just a little simpler, I think. But any one of them is fine. So you'll just go, open your browser and go to EasyBib.com. It is free. It will prompt you to watch an ad. If you watch that ad, you get 48 hours of uninterrupted use of it, so it's kind of worth it. There are some kind of annoying things going on the side, like ads and stuff, but you just have to ignore that. Okay, so we're at easybib.com. We're going to click Create Citations, and then we're going to choose Website, since I'm assuming that a lot of the things you're finding are from Google searches. So in that case, you don't have physical books or physical journals. So we're just going to choose Website for these. So go ahead and click Website. Then it's going to give you a URL field to type the address of your source. So what I'm going to grab my first source. So here's my Google search page. So I just went to google.com and did a search for smartphone addiction in teens. I decided to work with that as my sample topic. How smartphone addiction affects teens is my research question. So I typed in smartphone addiction teens and I got over 3 million results. So that's a lot to wade through. So just scrolling through, I found, let's just take a look at this one from psychologytoday.com. So just looking, without even clicking on it, if I just look at the web address, I can get some information about the source. I happen to know already that Psychology Today is a popular psychology magazine. So it's not an academic journal, but I would still consider it appropriate for this, for this research essay. So this could be an appropriate source. It's a blog, so we might want to check to see who the writer is to make sure they have authority to be writing on this topic. So anyway, I'm going to click on this to get to the article. Okay, so just looking at the article, some things we can tell about it. The author is named, and he's got a PhD, so that's a good sign. And I'm going to scroll down. Usually if you scroll down, you get a little bit more information about the source. So I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom of this blog entry. And so you see there's an about the author. He's a family therapist, a researcher at a university, and the author of a book. So I think he's a pretty authoritative source. So I would say that this source would be pretty good to use in your paper. So I'm going to go back up, and we've decided, let's say that I've read this article, I've taken some notes on it, and I've decided I want to put this in my annotated bibliography. So I'm going to go up to the address bar, highlight it, I'm going to right click my mouse, copy the address, and then I'm going into EasyBib, and I'm going to paste the address into this field and click search. And so the computer is looking for that article and it found it. So if I scroll down under the ad here, you can see here's the URL, and they've pulled up the title of the article and the author. So we're going to click Cite. That's the right one. All right, so now we're on step 2. So in step 2, the software tells you everything, all the pieces of information they found to identify the article. And this is the stuff that's going to go in your bibliographic citation. They've got the title, they've got the URL, the title of the website is Psychology Today. And the way we know that, the title of the website is usually right before the .com or the .edu, so Psychology Today is correct. The date we found it on the internet and the date it was published. So they've got a lot of the information here, and it's telling us over here on the right that they couldn't figure out who the publisher or sponsor is. A lot of times you'll get this back with EasyBib. Their reader can't always identify the correct publisher or sponsor, but we'll edit that. I'll show you how to find that on the next step. So we're going to click continue, and then it's going to ask us to add the information that the software couldn't find. All right, so they've got the title filled in. Sorry about that. The author is filled in, the website title, the publisher sponsor. They've got Sussex Publishers. So let's go check to make sure that's correct. I'm going to go back onto the website. To find the publisher, usually you have to go all the way down to the bottom and they'll give like copyright information. So yeah, here it is. Psychology Today, that's the name of the magazine, copyright 2020, Sussex Publisher. So that's the publisher right there. So they got it. I guess they just wanted they wanted us to double check it. And then the URL and the date. So everything's there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and complete the citation. And it starts a list for you. Let's go down and look at it. Okay, so you can see they've got it perfectly formatted here. It's double spaced the way it should be. It's in the correct Times New Roman format. And if you look here in the right corner, you can tell it how to organize the entries. So in MLA, the entry should always be alphabetical. So just make sure that's clicked. And then you have some choices here. You can either go ahead and copy the citation and paste it into your Word document if you've already started a works cited page, or you can just keep your list going and it will automatically alphabetize your list for you, and then you can export it. Now ours is going to be a little different because we're not doing the works cited right now. We're doing what's called an annotated bibliography. That's basically a list of the sources that you explored before you wrote your paper. So for your annotated bibliography, you need to have 6 sources listed with notes on each source. Those are the annotations. Now, when you write your research paper, you might not use all 6 of those sources. You may only use 3. I think that's the requirement. You have to use at least 3. So on your works cited page, you're only going to cite the 3 sources that you actually used, and you won't have annotations with them. So EasyBib doesn't do annotated bibliography setup. So you'll have to manually fix that after you export it or copy it into your own document. But just for the purpose of gathering your citations, it's really helpful. All right, so let's add another one. I'm going to go. I found one also on the Western's library page. So if you want to search the library catalog, you just go to your address bar and type wmich.edu/library, and it will take you to this search bar. It's kind of like Google. So I typed in my search term, smartphone addiction and teens, and I always like to include a capital connecting word between my main phrases, because it tells the computer that you want to find everything about smartphone addiction and also everything about teens that's related to smartphone addiction. And it just sort of makes your search results more pinpointed and more accurate. But you can try it with or without that connecting word. Okay, so one of the results I got back that looked interesting is an article. You can tell that the good thing about the library is it identifies the type of source that you've got. So we know this is an article. It's from a journal called Analysis and Metaphysics. This purple icon here with the book and I means that it has been peer-reviewed. So that actually means it's an academic journal. So there's no question this is a good source. And it's recent. It's from 2019. All right, so I'm going to pretend that I've read this and taken some notes on it, and I want to use it in my annotated bibliography. So if I come down in the search results page, on the search result entry, there are 2 things you can do. You can click on the quotation mark citation icon, and it will pop up with this with the citation, and you can copy and paste that into your Word document. But you'll also notice there's an EasyBib link here. So I'm going to click that. Since I've already started a list on EasyBib, I'm going to click that and export that into the list I've already started. Okay, so it takes you into the EasyBib website, and it's telling you the citation, yes, this is the right one, and we want it without the abstracts. The abstracts are just like the summary of what the article is about. You don't want all that mess. So let's click import. All right, and let's go down, and you can see on our list that it has imported it. Super easy. It's in alphabetical order. All right, let's do one more, and then we're going to export this to our Word document and make it into an annotated bib. Okay, so here's another one. No, that's the wrong one. Here's another one I found in a Google search by using the keywords smartphone addiction in teens. Okay, so I've already clicked open the source, and you can look at the address bar and tell it's a .gov. So it's a government publication. The 3 letters right before the dot, NIH, I happen to know that stands for National Institutes of Health because I've seen a lot of these articles, but you can find it over here too, U.S. National Library of Medicine. So this is actually a library, a government library website. It's under the umbrella of the National Institutes of Health. So I think this is the publisher of the website because it comes right before that .gov. Or maybe that's the name of the website. I don't know. EasyBib will help us. But you can see, you know, it's from a journal of Korean medical science. So this is a journal in the National Institutes of Health library. So because this is a library, if you come over to the right, you'll see there's another similar to the Western Library. You could click this citation and it will generate the citation for you to copy and paste. But since we've already started a list on EasyBib, let's do it that way. So I'm going to come up here, copy and paste the URL, and I'm going to do create a new citation. We're going to go ahead and choose website because we got it off of Google. All right, and I'm going to paste that in here, click search. All right, and it has found that article, so I'm going to click cite. All right, and it's telling us again that it's not exactly sure who the publisher is, so we're going to check it. Let's click continue. It's found everything else. All right, now it's going to ask us to check everything and add the correct publisher. So it's got the title, everything's capitalized, it's got the first and last name of the author, the title of the website. Well, I don't think that's correct, so I'm going to go look at that. The website title. I actually think the website title is one of these things in front of the .gov, and I'm not sure if it's NCBI, which I had to scroll down to figure out. NCBI stands for National Center for Biotechnology Information, so I'm not sure, is that the title of the website? Is it the title of the U.S. National Library of Medicine, or is it the National Institutes of Health? So I think personally any one of those would be okay with me. But I'm just going to go with National Institutes of Health because it comes right before the .gov. So I'm going to go back here. Instead of the website title being that, I'm going to put National Institutes of Health. And then the publisher is not the Korean Academy of Medical Sciences. They published the original journal, but the publisher is actually, let's go down to the bottom here. I believe it's the National Center for Biotechnology Information, or you could say the United States National Library of Medicine. I'd be happy with either one of those. I'm going to put National Center for Biotechnology Information. Okay. And then complete citation. Actually, you know, I am not going to be scanning your citations with a ruler to make sure you have the exact correct publisher website title. I just think if you do the best you can with the information you have, then that's fine. Okay, so let's complete citation. All right, and let's go check our list out. So here we've got 3 of our 6 sources started. So if you're doing the EasyBib, You might want to go ahead and do all 6 on here because it will automatically alphabetize for you. Okay, so let's say I'm going to pretend that I have my 6. So now I'm ready to export it. Now, there are a couple ways you can do it. You could just copy everything and then open up your document and paste it in there. Or you could try to export. So let's click export, and it says, where would you like to export? And it gives you the options of Microsoft Word and Google Docs. Yesterday I tried Google Docs and for some reason it didn't work for me. So I just went ahead with Microsoft Word. So I'm not sure what was up with that, but I'm just going to do Microsoft Word and click export. And then it's going to open a new document for you. So I'm going to click OK. Okay. All right, so it's imported into my Word document. Now, because this is what we're working, I'm going to click Enable Editing here. Because we're working on an annotated bibliography, not a works cited page, I'm just going to highlight that, and we want to title it Annotated Bibliography. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the end of my first citation, click Enter just once, and don't worry if that changes blue, that's fine if there's a hyperlink. So now what I want to do is actually type my notes. So your annotation should be probably 3 to 4 sentences, maybe about a paragraph in length. And you're just going to want to type what is the main idea of this article, what is its main point. Just put that in your own words in a couple of sentences. Then type in what are some of the ways you could use that information to support one of your points or to answer one of your questions from your research organization chart. Okay, so type maybe 3 to 4 complete sentences. Okay, so your annotation obviously will be a little longer than this. It'll be about paragraph sized. And the formatting here is a little messed up. You don't want your actual notes or your annotation to have an indent like that. You only want that for your works cited entries, for your citations. So we're going to come here. I'm going to highlight this line because I don't want it indented. And then I'm going up to my ruler. If you can't see the ruler on your document, just go to View, just click View, and make sure Ruler is checked. I'm going to go back home here. So we're going to go up to the ruler, and we're going to grab the very top triangle of the lower ruler bar. We have to grab it at the top. If you grab it at the bottom, it will move both arrows, and we don't want that. We don't want both to move. We just want the bottom one to move over. So I'm grabbing that triangle at the top, the one that made the hanging indent, and I'm going to pull it over all the way to the left. So that's how your annotation should look. And I know that looks really weird, but it's correct. So you're going to want to do that, for all of your citations. Just type in your annotations and make sure that you get rid of the hanging indent for each of those. Okay, so this is how to do your annotated bibliography, and then you just save it as annotated bibliography, and you can upload it on the Dropbox on eLearning, and it might be a good idea to email it to me as well, or share it with me so that I can give you any feedback if there are any problems with it. All right, so that's how to do an annotated bibliography using EasyBib. There are also examples of an annotated bibliography on our eLearning page. So please let me know if you have any questions, and have fun. Thanks.